dinner. I'm finally just now eating
What are
and
you eating?
everything. How you doing, buddy? It's we're on the distraction channel, everybody. Andrew is charging me about triple his usual price for this. So please send your super chats and your humper bobber chats because I got to pay Andrew a lot of money. JJ, you negotiated a terrible deal, and so Andrew's costing me an arm and a leg here. I haven't slept in about 5 days. But Andrew Thompson is here, the fucking GOAT. How you doing, buddy?
It's good to be here with you, man. How you feeling? It's always good to see you. Always
You can
always
see
a pleasure.
me. I can't see you.
I know. It's good to see you, though. It's good to see you.
It's good to see your avatar.
I'm just chilling, bro. Like I'm chilling. That's all it is. I'm out here laying down. Got the mic to my face right now.
Lay it down. My God. This man's sleeping.
I'm trying to, man, but
a
lot going on in the past 2 hours.
Is there? It feels like there's a lot going on in the past
2 days.
2 days. This whole week, man. This whole year. Like, I know we're 5 days in, but jeez.
We should do like a seminar on the news writing and how tiring it can be at times. We do like a whole breakdown.
Oh man. Joseph is in the chat and he says, I paid money for this shit and I can't even see the great man Andrew Thompson. What do you want me to do, Joseph? He's charging me triple his price and we don't even do video.
Matter of fact, let me get some things organized real quick.
Oh no, the fee's gonna go up now. Fee's gonna go up.
Joseph, this is coming out of your distraction. This is where this is coming from. It's like, now let me get the my chair and stuff like that. I'll be right here. I will throw in the video.
Riley Walker says, "Good evening to you all. Tony needs to try to get Regal. Regal will be valuable to the backstage roles in AEW and serve as an on-screen character." And JJ says, "Andrew is always worth the money." Jeremy, I agree. I do agree. I mean, they released people, Andrew. It didn't take them long into this year. I think Regal was the biggest name in this list. It's just more signals that Triple H's NXT is dead and gone.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. It's crazy to like see so many of these like releases just happen so much on a consistent basis. And the thing is, like, do you feel it's not even the thing that surprises you anymore? It's more so just like again type thing. Because like whenever these releases happen, I'm like, well, especially over the past year. It just feels like a thing where it's like it's sort of expected, but you never want to see anybody lose their jobs. And then at the same time, when you look at somebody like Allison Danger, who they literally just brought in like three months ago, and you bring her in, and I saw Lenny Leonard's thread about her, and she moved her family from Vegas to Florida, and just relocated her, and she had to relocate everything, and just for her to come in and be let go like that, it's like all that stuff it's unfair, man. And then you have talents like Hideki Suzuki, and you asking him to move his whole life from Japan over to the U.S. and then you let him go like a year later. He got hired in April 2021, and I believe. And then you got Regal, who is a wealth of knowledge in professional wrestling. So when I look at somebody like Regal, man, if there was anyone who I could legitimately see being either behind or being a second or third man to somebody that's looking to start up a third major promotion, I can definitely see Regal being involved in that. Like he is that like just filled with that much knowledge. So yeah, man, these releases, it is kind of draining to see so many people lose their respective jobs, and it sort of makes some people very like disinterested in the overall WWE product. And with this NXT rebrand, it's gonna be interesting to see what it looks like 2-3 years from now, because you letting go all these people with so much knowledge to help form what NXT was, and they had 15, 20, 30, even more than that, maybe years of experience in the business to pass along to these talents that really don't have any experience. And then at that, you bringing in the people who really don't have any like relation to professional wrestling at all. Like you got them scouting like basketball players who really, they're not really that interested in it. And then you got people who really they just don't have any experience in wrestling at all. So to bring them in and to remove the people who have really molded a lot of stars currently on the main roster, it is a quite baffling decision. But this WWE, man, it is. I think the company is like moving really toward. They're moving away from. They've already moved away from like searching for it. So I guess the good word is the elite professional wrestler, and now they're just looking for people who they feel like can. Who they believe that I'm assuming that they believe that this way of business is going to help the transition to the main roster easier, and I just don't think it's the way. I really don't.
I think Freddie Prinze Jr. is in William Regal's DMs right now to
get
that third promotion.
I forgot about that. He did say he wanted to start a promotion. He really did say that.
I mean, this is the direction they're going, and they've been going since last year. Really, is they're releasing all of these talents, all the talent, the independent talent that Triple H kind of brought in and built NXT Black and Gold around. There ain't many left. It's Ciampa. Like Ciampa, I guess Dunn is still there, but everyone else is gone. They've been in the 2.0 era, and this is what they want. They want their athletes and their models and stuff, and they're going to teach them how to become sports entertainers, and that's gonna be that. This is the way they're gonna do business. If that's the way they want to do it, fine. That's their call. It's their money. It's their company. That's okay. I think there are other ways to do it than just find these athletes and stuff, but that's what they want to do. Fine. I feel bad for a lot of the talent and the staff, not only one, because they lose their job, but like you said, it's a lot of these people have just uprooted and moved their life to Florida. And you hear the stories of people with the visa issues and everything. Katrina Cortez was having trouble. The Iconics and Jonah, it took them a while to get that sorted out. Cesar Bononi, he had trouble when he got released. A lot of like people having the visa issues if they're international talent. So that's never easy. And even if you're not an international talent, if you've moved your entire life to Florida because you're going to the performance center every day, then all right, what are you doing now? Like you got to figure out. I'm sure not all of them want to live in Florida. I mean, maybe I'm sure it's a nice place to live. I particularly don't care for it, but I'm sure not all of them want to live there. They want to go out and then actually start a life somewhere else. But they did that so they could be close to the performance center. And now they no longer. That's not their job anymore. So that's the toughest part. Joseph and I have kind of always talked about it, is a lot of these talents will be fine on the independent scene. The staff, I don't know how many like positions there are. Staff, it seems like it's a little bit tougher. Like a guy like Regal, probably going to be fine. Some of these other people like writers and whatnot, like I don't know how that's going to work, because AEW doesn't really have writers. A lot of these companies don't really have like television writers and stuff like WWE does. Can these people find work elsewhere in Hollywood and whatnot? I don't know how that scene is. So the staff is going to be a little bit tougher, because I'm sure they were making good coaching money in WWE, and you ain't going to make that same kind of money just like running seminars and whatnot. So it seems like it's going to be a little bit tougher for people like that. And even talent, the independent scene, there's plenty of opportunities, but there ain't opportunities where you're going to be making the money and the consistency, the paycheck that you get from WWE. There ain't those opportunities out there. And AEW, we joke, they can't sign everybody. They truly cannot sign everybody. Like, bless Timothy Thatcher. I think he's great. I think he's valuable to any company. I don't know where Timothy Thatcher really fits in an AEW, that he doesn't fill the same role that anybody else that they have right now that doesn't fill. So it's tough, man. I hate that when anybody has to lose their job like this. I hope that everyone lands on their feet and comes out on the other side.
But
but it's always a tough day.
But the thing is, too, the independent scene is somewhat flooded at the same time, because you got these mass releases happening from WWE constantly. You got the entire Ring of Honor roster out there. You know what I'm saying? It's and then you got this new batch of talent out there. And on Thatcher point, I do kind of agree. Like I think people do. I think people just want to see Thatcher in his element. You know what I'm saying? They want to see him do what he does best, which is just wrestle. And I mean, I think Thatcher can do that anyway. I can see him, you know, travel restrictions, you know, aside. I think I can see him going back over to WXW, probably
Yeah.
doing some stuff in the UK. You know, I could definitely see him doing that. So yeah, for Thatcher, I mean, I could see him doing like a, you know, a spot here or two with AEW. Maybe sign like one of the contracts like some of the talents do. Not maybe not a full-time thing, but like on a per week basis, or you know, for a stretch of time he appears on AEW. I can definitely see something like that happening. I think that would be cool. I don't think anybody would complain about seeing Thatcher going to work with somebody on TV. But yeah, man, these releases, like it's always baffling to see like the amount of talent that WWE once had under their banner, and they legitimately could have. I mean, I know people when they hear me say this, they're gonna be like, well, they are quote unquote running shit, but like they could have been running shit. Like, do you know the amount of talent that they have let go over the past 2 years, or yeah, over the past 2 years, year and a half? It's ridiculous. Like, but at the same time, most, if not all, of these talents, all of those talents that I'm referring to, have landed on their feet and they found work, and they're doing more than likely better things than they did when they were in WWE. So I mean, you can, like you mentioned, Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee landed right on their feet in Impact, came in right away, got a title shot, and they won the titles, and now they're seemingly the face of that Knockouts tag team division. You got Buddy Matthews out here killing on the independent scene. This man
Oh,
got a
don't
match with
bring
us.
up Joseph. Joseph's gonna be mad. He's still waiting for AEW to
Hey,
sign him.
Joe. I don't know why I just called him Joseph, but Joe, I'm telling you, House of Black is going to be Brody King, Malachi, and Buddy Matthews. I'm telling you. And you know what? I'm gonna throw a little prediction in there. Julia Hart is going to join House of Black.
Oh,
And
that'd be interesting.
they're going to change her name to Julia Blackheart. I'm telling you.
Wow, look at Andrew.
Remember I said this. And she's going to dye her hair black, no more blonde. And then she's going to be with Malachi, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King. They might even tattoo her face. You never know.
Oh no, they don't need the tattoo.
I'm just
That seems a step too far. But the rest of that, I like that. I like going there. I think Brody King's coming tonight. That's not confirmation, but it's been teased enough, and it feels like it's almost really happening tonight. Joseph says, I can't take these bullets anymore. Bud Matt has failed me. Joseph's been predicting Bud Matt in AEW or Impact for whenever he got released, like the week after he got released. He's like, he'll be in the fleet. It's fine. And I think he's given up on just everything until it actually happens. So I hope for Joseph's sake that we do get Bud Matt in the House of Black. A lot of talent like has landed on their feet, but like for every one of those, you think of other guys who like Leon Ruff. He's done like some GCW appearances and stuff, but he's not really active anymore right now. And he certainly hasn't, found like a full-time home. This is a former North American champion and everything. And a lot of these guys, which is the worst part of it, is like their dream is just like WWE. And so once they get there, they get released, like the mental toll that takes on you too is just it can't be understated. So a lot of people have landed on their feet, and that's obviously great to see. But there's also people out there who are just kind of getting by and doing independent appearances. And look, they're doing great on the independent scene, like Alex Zane, Blake Christian. These guys, they're doing very good things on the independent scene. But that ain't just full time WWE work and everything. And there's that money. It's a difference. I'm sure they love to create and that craft and everything, but the money comparison is a big difference there. And AEW can't take all of these talents. I think some of the recent released guys are gonna find that too with AEW not signing everybody. So it's tough, man. I hate all of these releases. We're 5 days into the year and it's happening. I'm sure it's gonna happen more the rest of this year, and it's going to continue to be tough.
Bro, I was going to say, like, the thing about these WWE releases is, like, it feels like you can sort of, like, expect them in, like, certain intervals, like, even post-WrestleMania. Like, can you imagine being a talent, right, and you coming off of WrestleMania and knowing that WWE has done cuts for the past 2 years after WrestleMania? Can you not, like, mind, like just that, like having that thought on your mind, like knowing that you could possibly be one of the times being let go following WrestleMania. Like I even heard Mickey James say in the interview, after she got released, what was that, like a couple days after WrestleMania, like 4 or 5 days after when they did those match releases, I think. And she was like, she had a feeling like when she was at Maine, and she was like, I had a feeling this might be my last go around in WWE. And it's crazy how people would feel stuff like that, but like they doing these mass releases will forever be confusing. I'll never understand it. They once had legitimately one of the best assembled rosters that you could possibly put together, and now half of that roster is gone. Most of that roster is gone. It's crazy. And so when I'm looking at this NXT 2.0, like I'm trying to do they expect like every single last one of these people to be like these super mega stars that's going to be like changed? Like it's no way. You can't have, my bad, you can't have all these people under one umbrella learning all the same things from all the same people. You gotta have a mix, a variety of different people, and like having people there like Regal, having people there like Ace Steel or Hideki Suzuki, or those are just people that's coming to my mind right now. But I'm pretty sure it's plenty of other different people. Scotty 2 Hotty, who just left the company not too long ago. But like trying to teach everybody the same way and mold them into the same thing is never going to work out long term. It's just not. I can't see it sustaining, this version of NXT sustaining that long. I just can't, because you having these inexperienced people working with each other, like you need people there who have somewhat type of copious amounts of experience, so they can pass that along to the people that's trying to come up, or the people that they're trying to bring to the forefront. I just don't see the formula working long term, and maybe I'll be wrong. You never know. But I'm just not a fan of like seeing all these people lose their jobs so constantly, and of course like you just said, and like I was saying, most of them do eventually end up finding work. They find something consistent, and you do raise a great point in the fact that WWE money versus what you could be making on the independent scene or elsewhere isn't the same. But also it's just rough, man. Like I really don't like seeing it. I always hate seeing people just get these releases and then seeing these post messages, and it's like, well, especially when I see messages like the one I mentioned earlier with Lenny Leonard, and he talked about Alice in Danger, and people are ruining their lives to come work for WWE, and then time being so short, and then it just shifts everything back to what it was previously. And the only thing is that you don't have a job. You know what I'm saying? You just move your family halfway across the country. So it's ridiculous. And this NXT formula they got going on right now, I can't see it sustaining for that long. I'd probably give it 3-4 years before they try to revert back to somewhat of what it used to be, or try to bring in people with a great deal of experience to sort of help that new generation that they're trying to build.
Yeah, they got their direction with NXT 2.0. That show ain't for me. I can't say I've watched it consistently since it started. I watched it last night because it was a big show. It was a good show last night, but obviously last night was a little bit different because they blew off a lot of matches and stuff, and they continued, the 2.0 transition. Like, I don't know where Roddy Strong goes right now. I don't even know. Excuse me. I don't even know where Ciampa is going to go right now. They're doing all their characters, and most of them don't really like hit with me or anything like that. They believe in this. We're just going to teach him how to wrestle philosophy. And I know people have said, Demon Grin here says they haven't come close to one class with Cena, Orton, Batista, and Brock. You look at those names and like, they ain't names that traveled around the independent scene. Cena did some UPW stuff. Orton's obviously a second generation guy or third generation guy, and Brock was a tremendous athlete. And
Brock was a specimen. That's different.
Yeah, and Batista, these aren't guys that traveled around on the independent scene and stuff. Batista, I think, came from like bodybuilding, so like that's what they're looking for. We haven't had that class again because they have kind of gone the independent wrestler route. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. They had a lot of talent that they truly fucked up. But those four right there, they weren't your Adam Coles, your Nakamura's, making their name on the independent scene or Japan and stuff like that. That's what they want to get back to, and that's why they're going this way. And they're kind of looking. I know Carmelo Hayes did some stuff on the independent scene, but like Braun Breaker didn't really do any of that stuff. I don't know what to think of Tony D'Angelo. I can't say I've seen his in-ring work enough, but he's a guy they seem high on. Grayson Waller, they're high on him. Like, they're going to try to continue to find athletes and guys like that and try to make them. And we talk about that Cena generation. That's what everyone wants to reference is, when are we going to find that again? That's honestly what they're trying to go back to instead of building these names through getting these names through like ROH, PWG, and New Japan and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, what, to your point, I will add that you look at a Bianca Belair or Big E, they didn't have any prior wrestling experience, and they jumped in and they became mega stars or big stars in WWE. So yeah, I mean, it's a point to be made there as well, like the fact that they drifted away from what they originally were doing to focusing mainly on the independent scene. And when I'm looking at it from I'm looking at it, but when you take a look at it from like a business perspective too, I never understood the whole dismantling of the NXT product, because you're looking at something that was literally selling out like the Staples Center and the Motor Center and all these different arenas every quarter or multiple times a quarter with these takeover shows. That's like a chunk of live gate. I'm assuming that was added to the company, and I'm assuming that's why they kind of just let it ride this whole time. Because like it always felt like, the man at the top was never too all in on NXT. Because like, yeah, bro, I even feel like what AEW is doing, I feel like that's sort of what Triple H had envisioned for NXT to be at some point, like this live touring brand on a weekly basis, hitting these different arenas and different spots like that. And NXT was just, it was fine on the network and all that stuff and fine in Full Sail, but it just seemed like it was always like there could have been more to that eventually, but it just never got kicked off. So like, yeah, I think, now is what it probably will be going, what it is going to be going into the future in probably the next 3-4 years. Like I just don't see the formula. I'm talking about like just strictly sticking to, bringing in athletes. I just don't think it's going to be sustainable for the long term. I think eventually at some point they're going to have to cave and start bringing in some established talents to help further mold the talents that they want to build up, even if it's not to a point of where they are trying to establish those already established talents, and they just want to use them to help mold the stars that they want. But I just don't think that is no way they can stay away from not having people or even producers or agents or just trainers in general that have this great amount of experience to help build this new generation that they want to hopefully turn into those classes like you just mentioned, or that class that you just mentioned.
And I mean, let's be honest. It doesn't really matter if I actually think what they're doing in NXT 2.0 is the way it should be done. Like, if you want to get a guy over, get these guys over. They've done a great job with Braun and with Carmelo. They're giving them big matches. They're giving them big wins. That's the way to do it. None of it matters if you go up to the main roster and you just lose to Roman Reigns or you lose to Brock Lesnar. And I think the hope for a lot of WWE fans is that, well, they clearly didn't see a guy like Nakamura as that guy the same way NXT saw him. So they brought him in, even though we all thought he was this ready-made guy and he could have been a big star. They're like, ain't really my person. NXT 2.0 is very much, for the most part, a Vince and Bruce project, it would seem. And so when these guys come up, there is that hope that they will actually be, pushed on television the same way they're being pushed in NXT 2.0. That remains to be seen. There's all the main roster horror stories that we can think of that until it happens, we're always going to feel like, Braun Breaker doing great in NXT 2.0, but once he gets up to the main roster, he's going to be stuck with some stupid gimmick, and it's just not going to work. We shall see about that. I think at some point they're going to have to bring in some like independent guys and whatnot
Yeah.
as well. Right now they're leaning very much the other way because they, for the most part, they lean very much uh, into the independent and established talent way. Now they're overcorrecting the other way. At some point there will be a balance struck. I would have to imagine.
Like I think you know what? I think that they'll go after independent talents who have some experience, maybe like people like talent like Carmelo Hayes, who was on the independent scene for, he made the rounds a little bit, but it wasn't anything like, most like it wasn't like 15 years deep or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they're
Yeah.
going to go after him, still young, still fresh, and they can still sort of take a talent like that, bring him or her in, and mold them into what they feel that talent should be, or sort of work with them to further bring their personality out. And just let it be like a collaboration sort of thing. So you mentioned like the Braun Breaker and of course Carmelo Hayes, and like those are two of the, I would say, standouts right now as far as this whole NXT 2.0 revamp have gone. They seem like they're working on trying to bring Cora Jade to that same spot. And which she's like what, 19, 20, so
I think she's 20.
yeah, so she got time out, so but yeah, I would say right now when I'm looking at NXT 2.0 is Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker that are the two standout talents right now. And what they do in the main roster remains to be seen, because like we've seen countless times. It is, I don't want to use the word rare, but like from that NXT to main roster transition and that talent being a success, it happens here and there. Like Bianca Belair went to the main roster and had I would say a way better run than she did in NXT. You got Damian Priest, who success on the main roster. I don't know what that shit he's doing now. They split personality disorder or whatever that is, but it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. He's still champ. It took them a long ass time to find it with Big E, but that I think that was just just more so from Big E's like from interviews that he's done. He feels like this was like sort of the right time for everything to properly come together for him. I feel like they could have they could have leaned more into Big E a while ago, to be honest with you. But I remember him saying that he thinks that it feels like when he won the title, it felt like the perfect time. I was about to go on a whole fucking rant about him losing the title too. Like that shit was, bro. Why do they do Big E like that, bro? Why would they do Big E like that? It like and it obviously feels like just a product of Roman unfortunately catching COVID-19. I hope he's doing okay. But yeah, man, with Big E, man, I feel like with his title reign, they never fully went all in with him as from the character standpoint. Like he was doing all and everything, like media wise. Big E was everywhere. I'm pretty sure, just like you, just like just like we do with the news stuff. How many Big E interviews were out there,
Oh yeah.
dude? He was everywhere doing everything, and he was a great representative for the company, for Black wrestling fans. I think Big E did an excellent job on the media portion of it, and he was representing. He really was. But I think with the on screen stuff, the thing is, like, I just felt like they never like put the machine behind them, like how they put the machine behind Roman Reigns. And the thing is, like, I know people will say like, oh, well, they're too different. I'm like, bro, this is professional wrestling. You can make anybody a star.
Yeah.
You can make anybody feel like a big deal. You just have to present them in that way, and the people who are watching will follow suit. Big E is a star. Big E has all the charisma you can want. He can wrestle. He can talk. He can do everything pretty much that Roman Reigns can. Everything. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason for you not to put the full machine behind a talent like Big E. Like you could send Big E on any of these morning talk shows on any network and stuff like that, and Big E represents, like, the dude is like literally good at everything. So like it was just like for them to do him like that, man. And then you obviously had a comparison right there to to Kofi Kingston as far as like taking the title off from for like, you know, for that Kane Velasquez shit, and then Kane ended up getting released from the company, and then the match was what was the match, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yeah,
They
Brock and
took
Kane. Yeah.
ridiculous, bro. And then the thing is, the thing that I think worries a lot of people about Big E right now is the fact that even when you look at Kofi, like he never even tried to, like, his character, I should say, his character never even tried to, like, oh yeah, let's try to get the title back. Let's try to get another WWE championship run. He just, motherfucker, just got sidelined and got put right back into the tag team division.
This was when people did they tried to tell the story in their own head. So I don't know if you remember this.
Keep talking, Jeremy. I'm about to go get my hoodie because I'm in a t-shirt right now. So I'm about to get to talking my shit. Hold on. You gotta be amped up. Hold on, I'll be back. Keep talking, bro.
Okay. I don't know when Andrew's gonna be back, but there was this segment after Kofi lost the title, a backstage segment, and they're tossing the pancakes and everything. And Brock Lesnar was brought up, and Kofi like crushes the pancake. And people talk to this, or people bring this up, and like, oh, Kofi still cares. Like, this is still, they're going to capitalize on this, and it's going to be this thing. And of course, it was never a thing. It's a great job by Kofi to do that, but it was never a thing, and I don't think it was ever going to be a thing. It's just the thing of WWE guys they're gonna try with this stuff. They're gonna try to connect the dots. There's Andrew.
I ain't got my ring light on right now, so I'm winging it. I was in the tank. I ain't want to flex the guns on camera. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to do that. I ain't want to flex the guns on camera, man. You know, but I had to take it easy it's a PG show. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm just playing. How you feeling though, Jeremy? It's a reintroduction. How you feeling?
I'm good. I was saying that, I don't know if you remember this segment, but after Kofi lost the title, Brock was brought up in a backstage segment, and Kofi like crushes this pancake in his hand. And people looked at this of like the lore of like, oh, he cares. Kofi cares that he lost the title. They're going to capitalize on this. And of course they did absolutely nothing with it. And like, I'm sure like Big E might be the same thing. It would not shock me if this just never comes back around to Big E. It would not at all. I think it sucks what happened to Big E. Joseph and I talked about it with O'Neill on Monday of like, on screen, they did not present him as a credible WWE champion. He was taking losses. He's made to look stupid. He's made to look like every other babyface they have at every single turn. Off screen, I mean, he did a lot of media, obviously. This man was going to boxing events, introducing main events. He was appearing on like College Game Day for big time, not the national title game, but conference championship games. Like, he was everywhere. And that should have been something of like, man, we've got this guy out there like really representing the company. Let's make him, let's make him look even stronger on television and give someone that people can get behind. And it's just like, he's just another babyface. And yeah, I understand. Okay, Roman is there. They're on separate shows. You can push other guys. Like, they still made Lashley. I know he lost to Goldberg, but he came back and he looked very strong. He looked stronger in that feud than Big E did. And he looked stronger at day one. And that's why they gave him the match at Rumble and had him win that 4-way and everything. They're behind Lashley over Big E right now. And in 10 years, when Big E is the same age as Bobby Lashley, I'm sure Big E will get a similar run to what Lashley's had.
Bro, but the thing is, like, why would Big E have to take the pin in this scenario? Pin Rollins or Owens. Don't pin the champion so you can have a reason for Big E to have a gripe at the championship to because he got blindsided. It's like the whole story was right there for Big E to sort of get back in the hunt. And I know they did that promo last night, and that promo on Raw, that promo was actually really good that Big E did. Like, that was really good on his part to get people invested. And of course, leave it to Paul Heyman to sort of try to salvage Big E. But yeah, man, it's ridiculous, bro. Like, the fact that you had somebody on your hands like Big E who was like a ready-made superstar. I mean, not even ready-made. He is a superstar. And the fact that they treated him like some sort of like collateral, like it's ridiculous. And like when I'm like, you mentioned, like we talked about the Kofi stuff a little bit. Like, it's hard for me to believe that there's a long-term plan for Big. They don't long-term book anything. So like it's impossible unless you're of that higher like upper echelon of talent to them, like a Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, then it's hard for me to believe that they're long-term booking stuff for you. Everything, it seems, everything is booked week to week. We see the reports constantly. Scripts is constantly getting changed on a daily basis when it comes to show days on a hourly basis. Sometimes it seems like from some of these write-ups, but yeah, man, with Biggie, I want to believe that this will be something different. The fallout will be something different from what happened with Kofi, but they don't have a good track record to even make me want to believe that something like this will happen. Like I legitimately think if it wasn't for Biggie not being on SmackDown, I definitely think that they would probably just stuffed him in a tag team, probably bad after the Rumble. Like, but like once they go Lashley and Lesnar at the Rumble, after that happens, then what's next? Because Lashley ain't beating Lesnar. So
Joseph is saying he thinks Big E might win the Rumble, but he's scared by his own optimism. I pitched on Monday, and I have 0% chance of this happening. Big E does win the Rumble, and they essentially Becky him, and he's like, because he got pinned by Brock, he got pinned by Roman at Survivor Series, and he's like, I don't want one of these belts, I want both of them. And you do a triple threat match at Mania, and then you put Big E over strong in that match. I don't think that's happening at all. If I had the pencil, I'd probably do that because I love Big E. I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think Big E's win the Rumble. I don't know who's winning the Rumble at this point. Brock will probably win it just because fuck it, why not? He'll just win. I don't see how. I don't know what they're gonna do with Big E. I really don't. Bless Paul Heyman. He did his best with that promo, and it was great. It means absolutely nothing if they just don't follow up and they continue to book him the way he's sort of been booked. Because how many times Heyman, he's always shooting, brother. But he will go into business sort of for himself. Like when he was on Talking Smack, he did a great job trying to like piece things together and put over the right talent and say the right things to the guys. And it's like, if they don't do anything with it on television, it doesn't really matter what Paul Heyman says. Oh my God, Andrew, blink twice if you can hear me.
I get you.
Okay.
What happened? Did I cut out or did you cut out?
No, you're good. Anything else on any WWE stuff? I do want to talk about Dynamite quickly here. Not quickly. We got a lot to get to.
We get into some Dynamite, but like real quick, just on the last two things, I wanted to like if they are not going the route of Bianca Belair winning the Raw Women's Championship from Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, I don't know what these people are doing. Yeah. This woman is like, dude, this is your star right here. Like, do you see what this woman does on like a weekly basis? Like, she's ridiculous. I mean that in a good way. She really is. So like that seems like a clear cut thing. I just want to throw that out there. But with Big E, man, I'm Joe. I'm really trying to be optimistic, and it's not because I believe in them. It's more so I believe in Big E as a talent, and I know that he has what it takes to sort of overcome bad booking. But like just from this WWE title run, dude, they had this man like making me think that Austin Theory was about to beat him for the damn title. I'm like, they making a bigger deal out of Austin Theory than Big E. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and he's the world champion. And I saw like the on his title run, I'm like, what type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, what type of shit is that? Like the chase was sort of up and down as far as like the Money in the Bank stuff, but the moment when he won the title, I would say the weeks leading up to it, several weeks leading into that title win for Big E was great just because of the idea of him winning the title, and of course the cash in and the title win was a great moment. Like, but see the fallout, man. Like WWE, they just do not know how to book any type of babyface champion. Like, it's like they struggle with that immensely. Like, unless they're like super duper invested in you, like from a business standpoint, and they want to put the machine behind you, then there is no way that they're going to like, just jump fully behind you. And like, I feel like they just never really did that with Big E. So I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to be hopeful, that something will come of this. But honestly, bro, if I'm being real with you, I think the most that's going to come out of this is they probably going to give Big E some type of like US or Intercontinental title win at WrestleMania and be like, hey man, sorry, but here's this is your big moment. It's the mid-card title, but whatever. But I think that will be the end result of it. I'm hoping that he will end up circling back around to the world title picture. I hope that they just don't completely remove him, or hope that people forget and act like we don't remember him getting pinned in that 5-way at day one. But it's hard to be optimistic when they have the track record that they do. So yeah, but Biggie, regardless of what they do, Biggie's a star, bro. He always will be a star, always has been. So I'm just hoping that this doesn't turn into something where this dude is just like shoved back into the US or IC title scene, and then just like, hey man, here's this thing for WrestleMania, but it's not the world title, but it's just gonna have to do. Like, I don't know, but I mean, I never know what they're doing half the time. But
they don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they.
How are we supposed to figure this shit out? He's gonna face Miz or something.
Probably. you want to know what's funny? That's probably I could see something like that happening. Probably Biggie versus Miz at WrestleMania.
Ricardo says, so WWE told Sean that this round of cuts wasn't talent related. They released a bunch of talent anyway. That's comical, and I hate it. All these people to start off year losing the job. They want NXT 1.5 to be good and thoroughly dead, even fired Regal. Shabogan, our guy, says there surely comes a point where there are so many stories of people getting screwed over. So many stories of people getting screwed over that people who have to move to where they're based start saying no to them simply due to the risk of being randomly released. I got to copy and paste these. It cuts off the wording in the middle of it. So it'll say THA and then it'll start a new line with T. So it's obviously that, and it's very difficult to read that stuff. Shabogan also says, hate to be that guy, but how long can the indies resist COVID? I don't know what the broader situation is like in America, but there are places around the world that are starting to lock down again. I don't know how long they're going to go, but it seems like because a lot of people aren't having symptoms, which is good, that they just really don't give a fuck, and they're just going to keep going the way that they're going. We've handled this situation very poorly since the start, and that has not changed.
But this pandemic is never this pandemic is not going away, bro.
Not at all.
It's like I thought there was like a
There's Andrew freezing.
Am I back?
Yes, I think your video's still frozen. Do you want to switch back to audio? The people got the picture. They saw you. Andrew, I cannot hear you. I'm going to read Shavogan's other chat. This is just like doing a show with Joseph. Shavogan also says, it's so abundantly clear that they put the belt on Big E because they wanted the ratings moment after losing to AEW in the demo. They don't value him in the long term. That's why he ate the pin. They unfortunately didn't even get like a big ratings pop out of it because they teased it on social media, which was great, and they followed through, which was great, but they didn't book him super strong, like really fully leading up to it. And he wasn't on Raw. He'd been on SmackDown. So she's like, okay, I'm just going to appear on Raw and everything. So they didn't even get like a monster ratings pop. I don't remember if they were up against football that night either. And like, if they were, that was obviously going to cut into it as well.
Yeah, man. But like, I know I just went like on a whole thing about it, but like I really don't know what they're going to do. Like I want to be optimistic and hope that somehow, some way, he'll be involved in this world title hunt going into Mania. Because I mean, I do think Big E. I don't think he should have lost the title at all, but I think Big E on the chase would be like a really cool thing for the world. That would be very interesting, and I think there's a lot of people that believe in Big E, including myself, that he could be like the guy in WWE. Like if they really put the full machine behind him and not do that bullshit that they did with this last run where they just like, oh, come out on Monday every night and then, promo and then like, you'll lose and or whatever like that. And they'll try to salvage it by, him having to, sort of redirect things with his, with his mic skills, which he does very well. So yeah, it's WWE being WWE, man. And like, I feel like with certain talents, it can be difficult to break through because, or difficult to really sort of get their feet set because they don't. It's certain talents, man, that they put the machine behind, and there's certain talents they get all the way behind it, and it's just certain people that they're like, okay, we'll give you this moment, but then we can't go all the way with you.
Yeah, That's the
Oh,
way they
can
do
you
it
hear
there.
me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, that's the way. That's just the way they sort of do it there. AEW tonight. They move over to TBS. Uh, are you on the train that Bryan Danielson should win the title from Hangman Page?
It's hard to argue against. It really is. It's difficult to argue against because I think Danielson is doing some of the best work of his. I would say of his last, like you said, like 5 or 6 years. I guess some of the best work. I think it has sort of passed for me personally. I think it's past the point of the Planet's champion, because I think that was a fun run for Danielson. I thoroughly enjoyed that, the Planet's champion stuff. But I think this, like right now, what he's doing, sort of reverting to something similar to what he was doing when he was in Ring of Honor, just like the asshole, like very cocky, like I know I'm better than everybody here, and y'all know it too. But y'all gonna have to boo me because I'm not trying to pander to you guys. Like, I feel like Danielson is legitimately doing some of his best work, and he's entertaining as hell to watch as a wrestler, on the mic and everything. The way that he's sort of trying to, you know, the way that he's reacting to the crowd, or better yet, I should say, the way that the crowd is reacting to him, and he's sort of just
Andrew has frozen
like,
again.
I can only imagine that this hasn't ran through Tony Khan's mind at some point. Strap Danielson, like it's no way that seeing his work having at least made you think not once that, like, I may, that, or at least entertain the idea of having run through your mind, because I think Danielson is doing some great stuff. But I'm gonna say the safe bet is Hangman. He'll probably end up retaining the title. I don't know what's next after Hangman, and I think the thing that adds so much intrigue about this match is the finish. Like, I think many people are like wondering if it's gonna be like a decisive one, or they probably go another draw, or be like some type of somebody getting involved. I think more so the finish of the match adds more intrigue to it than the actual match itself this go around, because of, will it be like a decisive, or will it come down to the judges? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of factors at play.
They can go a lot of ways with this. My gut tells me Hangman is going to win because they put so much into that story and that arc with him. And so, as much as I love Bryan Danielson, and I'm rocking the official Bryan Danielson
The
T-shirt right
t-shirt.
now. Um, I don't know if he needs this win, or if he should get this win after the journey of Hangman and everything.
Yeah.
I would stick with Hangman here. I would get Danielson going back into the babyface stuff, because he's had the heelish tendencies in this one. I don't think he's like fully outright a heel, but
He still comes out of babyface tunnel, right?
yeah, I think he still does come out of the babyface tunnel. I could see this going. I could see this going another way. Of Danielson does win, Moxley comes back. Moxley's going to get a monster pop when he returns. He's going to be a babyface, even though they were trying to position him as a heel, and he was, kind of leaning towards that turn before he went to rehab. He's going to get a big pop when he returns. He comes in and he confronts Danielson, and then you kind of keep Danielson a heel, and then Moxley is your big time babyface coming in here. I could also see Hangman winning. Moxley does come back. He gets the big pop, but then he's good enough where they can do a quick turn with him, sort of like with Danielson, and they continue the Hangman and Moxley stuff that they started in the ladder match. I think Moxley is coming back pretty soon. Mark Losberg says Cass. I read a Cassidy Haynes for Body Slam. Mox is coming back this week. GCW, they haven't outright said that Moxley is going to be Hammerstein, but the fact that they crowned Homicide as the top contender and he's going to get that title shot, and they said Moxley has to lose that belt, they've said enough that Moxley is coming back without actually announcing him as coming back. So it seems like Moxley's going to be back sooner rather than later. None of this is confirmed or anything, but I'm booking as if Moxley is going to come back tonight. I don't know anything, so we will see. Andrew has lost video again.
No, see, I'm back. I only did that because, like, I guess it's the the bandwidth or something like that. Like whenever my video is on too, sometimes it like slows down, so I just turn it off real quick, then it speeds me right back to what you were just saying. Quick
Gotcha.
little stream y'all chick, since the man that ain't too friendly with stream y'all. But I definitely think you raised some good points, like with the Moxley Hangman story. That's an obvious one. Then was that some? Well, of course, Hangman, he came out when he made that return to Moxley, was the one in the ring. Did he knock Moxley off the ladder before he grabbed the?
Yeah. Yep.
Shit? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right there in plain sight. And then with Homicide calling Moxley out, like it ain't no way in hell that his first appearance is gonna be for GC. It's no way.
No,
It's no
absolutely
way.
not.
That first comeback from him is happening in AEW. So you know what, I can see either Moxley going after Hangman, or I can see him going after Danielson, because they were supposed to be in the finals of that world title eliminated tournament, and Moxley could have this whole, I guess you could say, like vendetta, like or where Danielson is at right now as far as the world title scene. That's supposed to be him, and I think Moxley is going to be probably going to be the baby face in this situation. Like I think Danielson, he is a baby face, bro, but I feel like he is so good right now as a like not a heel, but I don't even think, I think he's just reacting on what the crowd is giving him. I think the crowd is behind Hangman, and they are playing along and booing Danielson to make the story more fun. I don't think they really want to boo Danielson. I think they're just into the story, and they're picking a side, and they're picking Hangman, and I think it's sort of one of the fun things about the the dynamic between Danielson and Hangman right now. So yeah, I can definitely see one of those scenarios happening either way, or they'll probably go the route of maybe one of the judges screwing Danielson over or something like that, and then Danielson ends up fusing with that person. Like, honestly, I mean, I don't know how much people would be into it, but I guess like an easy out would be like, if you want to go back to Danielson getting like the baby face type of reactions, like maybe you can, I don't know why you would do it, but you can probably sit like MJF on one of them things and then have him just screw Danielson over or something like that. And then, that'll be Danielson's way of sort of transitioning back into the babyface role and then getting into some MJF. I don't know how people would feel about that, but I mean, that's that seemed like a easy way to sort of, if we're talking about, I guess, quick ways to sort of transition Danielson back into that babyface role, or getting the type of reactions that he did when he initially came into AEW.
People have mentioned Miro being a judge, or Miro screwing him over could certainly do that.
That's a good one.
People have mentioned Moxley being a heel as well, so, or not being a judge. So they could do that angle as well. There are certainly a lot of ways to go with this. I'm intrigued by what they do tonight, because like I don't know if there's a wrong way to do this. The follow-up could prove that there is a wrong way to do this. So whatever they do, they got to make sure they have something good coming out of it. Right. And we shall see on that. The rest of the card, the TBS title,
it's coming home.
The finals of that, Jade Cargill and Ruby Soho.
It's time. It's time, Jeremy. It's time. Jade Cargill is taking it. Bro, look at her, bro. She's like a star.
She's a star.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's a superstar. Like, look at her, man. Like, come on, man. Like, and the thing, like, I know people have this like argument or she's green, but she's been wrestling for like a year. What do you mean? Of course she gonna be green. Do you think she's gonna pick it up like that? Like, bro, she's having to learn on the fly. Like, Jade Cargill is gonna get the hang of it, and it's only gonna come with time. And being in the ring with somebody like Ruby Soho is only gonna help that. And being in the ring with people like Thunder Rosa is only gonna help that. And then having Mercedes Martinez, who has 20 years of experience by her side, is only gonna help that. Like, I think that Mercedes Martinez signing is gonna be so key to the progression of Jade Cargill as a wrestler. Dude, it's going to be crazy. Like, I think what Mercedes could do for Jade, and just even on those occasions when Jade comes out to manage Mercedes, like when she's on the opposite end and seeing what Mercedes does, and like, bro, you can't teach 20 years of being in wrestling, bro. It's impossible. You just can't. Mercedes has literally seen it all. She's been signed by WWE. She's been, and she was in AEW previously, and now she's officially with the company. She's been in Impact. She's done everything on the independent scene, toured the world. The knowledge that she has will be very, very vital to the growth of Jade Cargill as a on-screen performer. So I'm definitely with that pairing right there. I think that's going to be Mercedes is going to be a huge addition to Jade. And when I say addition, I don't want to like make it seem like Mercedes is like this, fucking sidekick or something, because she's definitely not that. But I'm talking about just strictly from the storyline perspective of what she could add to the Jade Cargill presentation. It's gonna do wonders for her. But with Ruby, I mean, you can make an argument for Ruby too. I don't want to just sit here act like I don't like Ruby. So I really do like Ruby, but I just feel like this, like even from the moment this tournament began, I was like, Jay's winning this, bro. She's winning this, and she's gonna be the first TBS champion, and I think she's gonna go in this like super long streak. And I think that it'll do good. It'll do good for whoever is able to take the title off her, because they'll have, number one, the title, and then also they'll have her streak. You know what I'm saying? Jade Cargill hasn't lost in AEW yet, and I don't think she's gonna lose anytime soon. So, like, man, but just looking at it from right now, like when you look at Jade, you can send her on these talk shows, Good Morning America and all that shit. You can send her do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, she looks like a star. Then at the same time with the wrestling stuff, I think that's all gonna come in due time. And then of course having Mercedes Martinez by her side, I think it's only gonna help improve things.
I'm not 100% sold. Like, Mercedes is just part of this act, you think? I'm not sold that Mercedes is just gonna be aligned with her the whole time. Maybe I didn't watch a Road to, and
not the whole time, but like not the whole time, but more so just like for maybe to the point to where she starts wanting to go after the TBS title herself.
Okay,
there you go. I think that's
all right.
You raised a good point.
I mean, I know she helped her last week and everything, and so the link is obviously there. I just don't think we're going to see her by her side like all the time, type of thing. Kind of like Jamie Hayter is with Britt Baker, and if she does, fine. But I think Joseph says I think Mercedes was simply hired to help last week via Smart Mark, and I kind of think it's the same thing. I don't think they're just going to be kind of fully aligned. I'm of two minds when it comes to the TBS title. I have no problem with Jade winning. They've built her up great. Like you said, she looks like a star. You can send her anywhere, and it's going to help the company out. The issue is winning streaks are very difficult, and so you have to be careful with that. And so you build her up and you continue to give her this winning streak. And when she finally does lose, it's going to mean a lot for the person that beats her. Yeah. You got to make sure it's the right person, first off. And second, you got to make sure you have a direction after that, and she's just not fully defined by this winning streak to where, okay, that's over. What is she now? And so to kind of offset that, you can have Ruby win tonight, use the experience excuse of like she just kind of drug her into deep waters. Jade has never wrestled past, I think the Thunder Rosa match is probably her longest match, so she's never wrestled past a certain point. Ruby was able to just gain some, or use her experience to just kind of get one over on Jade. Jade learns from this, comes back stronger, wins the title in 6 months or whatever. Then you don't have to book around, hey, we gotta we gotta protect this losing streak. And then in that 6 months run, Ruby can really establish this belt as something meaningful by doing, maybe you do like a Cody Open Challenge type of thing, but you can just have Ruby just put on these great matches against the women's roster. Because I don't think you're gonna put Jade out there to be kind of a workhorse champion with this stuff. That's true because she is so young. And Britt, I think we all love Britt, but like she ain't really defending that belt a whole lot in these longer matches. And Britt, her character work is great. She still has some things to work on when it comes to in-ring stuff. So that's if they want to do sort of the TBS title is the quote unquote workhorse title. Maybe they don't. Maybe they actually put the women's championship. I think we think Thunder Rosa's kind of got next on the women's championship. So maybe they put the women's championship on Thunder Rosa, and then they transition that into more of a workhorse title than what Britt has kind of shown with it. There are ways to go with it. I could go either way with Jade winning tonight. I think the story is there either way. And so if she does lose, I hope people are not like, well, they ruined it. That's the end of her. I feel like there's a long-term play with Jade. And by the same token, if she does win, I hope people give her a chance with it, and they don't expect her to just defend it every single week in these 15-minute matches.
You right, but I want to touch on that last point you made. Like, the thing is, like, even if she loses, like, we haven't seen, I don't think we've seen her final form as a wrestler. Like, she's only been in it like for a year, bro. So like, I think even if she does lose, I think a lot of people are expecting her to win. I expect her to win this match, but like I don't think I won't be like upset if she loses because like this isn't her final, thing as an in-ring performer. We're like seeing the beginning stage. This is the beginning stage of her career. So you only imagine how good she might be or how good she could be in 2-3 years from now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure she'll, I'm assuming she'll still be with AEW by then. But yeah, man, like I think it could go either way. But I just feel like it's sort of leaning more towards Jade, or maybe that's just what I feel personally as far as like the way the story should go. But I mean, at the same time, Ruby is a good case too. And then at the same time, you have this maybe if Ruby wins, you can sort of circle it back around and have Jade probably win the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Like maybe I don't know how many people would feel about that. I mean, I feel like that's but you don't know how things might improve for Jade in the in-ring standpoint between now and when does that tournament
May.
start?
The
In
finals
May?
are in May.
Yeah, the finals are in May. So what do you think it probably starting like in April, like late April, probably, and then they'll sort of build up to it by then. But I can definitely see something like that happen, or even maybe you do something along the lines of, I mean, I think it's a variety of different ways to go coming out of this, and I can definitely see it's swinging either way, and I think there's a story to be told either way. But like the streak thing is that's rough to do at some point because at some point you're going to have to keep lining people up in front of Jade. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just have her holding the title and then not defending it. Like you have to keep lining people up, and you have to keep having her to beat people and different talents on your roster. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, you could like, I guess you could go the whole route of bringing like an enhancement talent in, every once in a while, or having, bringing an independent talent in and having them lose the Jade. I mean, I guess you could go that route, but her not having the streak could be definitely easier to book than having the streak. But at the same time, I think the streak does add a little bit of like to her overall on-screen presentation. And as far as Britt goes, I think Thunder Rosa are taking that title at Revolution. 100. I think they're gonna run it back. The not a lights out match, unsanctioned match, but it's definitely gonna be like some type of hardcore, TLC type style match, and Thunder Rosa is gonna take the title off Britt, and was that almost a year run with the AEW Women's World Title. So yeah, and that what's the name that match on this just came to my mind, but that match on Rampage with
the street fight.
That was really good. That was really good. Yeah, it really
that feud
was.
lasted. I think it lasted about 3 years. It pretty much since the existence of AEW, but they certainly blew it off in the right way.
Now, for real though, Jump, that's good though. Like it's stuff going on outside of the title pictures like that. I think that's always I mean, it may not be like the most entertaining thing, but I do think it's like a good thing, for there to be stuff going on. And like what you mentioned her, Jamie Hayter.
Yeah,
dude, she is so good. Like she is tremendous. She's just a great wrestler. Like she really is. I'm saying she might be the queen of taking the crossbody. I've never seen a human being take the crossbody like Jay. Like she leans into it. She's legitimately waiting for that friend. She like slips off her feet. It's great. But I think she's going to consistently be featured on TV because of her skill level. And of course, I think that time at Stardom just tremendously helped that. Like that time she spent in Japan. So I feel like Jamie is just so advanced that you'll be able to throw her in with anybody to sort of make them look good while also keeping her look good. Like I hope at some point they sort of really get behind Jamie Hayter, because she's hella talented, bro. Like she really is. She's like I said, she's just a great wrestler. And yeah, this had came about like as I was thinking about the fight. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Andrew's cutting back in and out. People saying Tony Storm, getting her in there. I know Joseph and a couple other people had mentioned Ember Moon, Athena. I think AEW would be foolish not to sign her. She's tremendous. So I hope she's there.
Oh yeah, can you hear me now?
Next year. Yes, you good?
Okay, yeah, good. Cause I had blacked out for a minute. Like, well, how long was I silent?
Not too long. I heard everything, and then because you just finished up talking about Jamie Hayter, and then you're about to move on to the next thing, and that's when it cut off.
Okay, real quick. Cause I like how long we got? What you want to wrap it up at like
We can go for
7:50?
about another 10-ish minutes. I want to try to wrap up obviously before Dynamite and then
Right.
let everybody settle in for Dynamite.
So like I was just thinking about how on that Rampage Street fight that was the same night as the Big Swole stuff was going around on Twitter. Like
Yeah.
that literally just came to my mind, and I wanted to touch on that real quick. Like the way that Tony Khan responded, I do feel like it was hella childish for somebody that's in his position as a president and CEO of a professional wrestling company. I don't think that was the way to go, especially considering the fact that he was big talking Swole on these media calls and calling her a great wrestler, and this was multiple things. And I know people use the excuse of promoters promote. Well, if you genuinely have these feelings about somebody and you're telling them something completely different while they're on your payroll, I think that's disingenuous, and I think that makes you look bad as an individual, not only as a somebody that's in the position you in, but just as a person. The fact that you will go out and say these things about somebody, and then the moment that they piss you off, you decide to tell the truth with what you think about them. And I seen a lot of people like critiquing Swole and it's about Big Swole's in ring work. Like, dude, I don't think like I seen people like trying to call her like a bad wrestler and stuff like that. Big Swole's not a bad wrestler. She's not a bad wrestler. Like the thing is, I just don't think Big Swole was able to ever find her footing in AEW. And even I look back at that feud with Big Breaker, I feel like she helped Britt tremendously during that period that they were working together. I really do. Like that time that they did when they were in Jacksonville, I feel like Swole helped Britt tremendously in terms of like establishing the like the more I guess heelish side of Britt Baker. I feel like Swole helped that tremendously, and like even I look at some of Big Swole's work with, like even when she was in the Mae Young Classic tournament, or you look at some of the stuff that she was doing when she's in Rise. Swole's not a bad wrestler, so anybody that's saying that you full of shit. And like even the thing, and I saw you retweeted, I saw Phil retweeted and stuff like that, like when her comments about like when she posted like a highlight from the actual podcast, and she was just like praising Tony Khan. She was like, yeah, man, I really like Tony, and saying all these good things about AEW and stuff like that. And like I think Tony's response really like elicited another response from people already trying to come at Big Swole. Like I feel like people like even when she was doing some of her in-ring stuff and in AEW, I feel like people already sort of was coming at the Big Swole. And I feel like Tony Khan's response just further like opened that door for people to do that. And I don't think that's right. And I don't think it ever will be right. And I'm not like, even like I don't expect him to like apologize or no shit like that, because I feel like he genuinely means what he says, and the tweet still hasn't been taken down, so that just further lets me know. And I feel like even if he did try to apologize, it would just be like some like disingenuous shit. So like it wouldn't even be no point, because I don't think he would mean it. I think he's standing on what he's saying, obviously. But like the thing is, man, with Big Swole, like, bro, like to be completely honest with you, bro, like being a black woman in professional wrestling is not just this thing of like where you can just and I can't speak to the woman's perspective, but I can speak to being a black man in this space. It's not easy for them to just go out there and just be like, hey, I'm just going to focus on my wrestling. It's not that simple. It never will be that simple. They got to worry about representing culture. They got to worry about sort of appealing to a mass audience. They got to worry about all different types of perspectives and different type of like things just hovering over them on top of that. So I'm not trying to say like, oh yeah, you trying to use that. People might say like, you trying to use that. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality of what it is, and you can look at it in a very different workplaces. That's just what it is. But like sticking to the topic of like just what he said about Big Swole, I feel like that was just like some disrespectful shit for somebody that was just on your roster and you were just big talking them, and then now that they said their truth and they spoke about their experience in AEW, and it wasn't a positive one, that you feel like you need to come out and say that I didn't like her wrestling. You know what I'm saying? That just didn't that didn't sit right.
And
I
you're cut
definitely
off
enjoy
there.
Big Swole. I definitely do. And I'm hoping that she, bounces. I'm back.
Yeah. You said the Tony Khan's tweet didn't sit right with you, and you enjoy Big Swole, and you hope she bounces back.
Yeah. And I hope she, she comes out of this strong, and there's I'm pretty sure there'll be some promotions out there looking to bring her in, and she'll find work and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be an issue. But like, yeah, Matt, that just didn't sit right with me at all. Like I was not feeling that in the slightest, and yeah, man, I so like the thing that I would just encourage people to do, and I even read your transcript, and I feel like you covered everything, but I feel like people or most of the stuff in that, but like I feel like when it's like a serious situation like this, and I don't want to like say super
You
serious, but
cut
like
off
I
as
guess,
you
and
were.
I'm telling you this, not you, Jeremy. I'm talking about just speaking to people. Oh my goodness, I'm cutting off again.
You're cutting off as you're trying to bury me. Yes.
No, oh no, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that, bro. I'm not trying to. No, no, no. What I'm saying is like, even me, like even when I write stuff, like even when I like when it's a like a certain topic or something like that. Even like as far as me, I'm not going to use John because I don't want you to think I'm like trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like even with me, I want people to go listen to the actual
Yeah.
podcast because like it's only like even if we do a great job. And let me just tell y'all this, so y'all don't want Jeremy to feel like Jeremy's a great writer. He's an excellent news writer. Like even if we try to cover everything, bro, it doesn't match hearing someone say it in their tone. It's impossible. Like we can like emphasize stuff and put stuff in quotation marks and all that good stuff and make it real nice and spice it up real nice, but it doesn't compare to actually hearing someone in their tone, in their element, saying what they're saying. And I feel like a lot of people really people read the headline, but I feel like a lot of people didn't actually go read your transcript and like read the entire thing and read about the diversity and talking about some of the struggles for the women in the company and like how they felt like things could have been sped up a little bit as far as like it shouldn't have been, I guess the assumption like it shouldn't have been taking this long for them to sort of get this spat. Like things could have been worked on earlier to help make these advancements in the women's division. And that's why I said she made fair points. She legitimately made fair points. Like, and I think people just focused in on the one, and I think that's what Tony Khan responded to. He was like, "Oh yeah, we don't have diversity." Like with certain shit like that. Like, dude, Big Swole made fair points. She made fair points, and that's what it is.
I 100% agree with you. I say it all the time. Always listen to these podcasts for yourself. What Andrew and I do is not easy to try to put the words of other people into a transcript. We have to break up certain things to get multiple stories out of it. I don't always like doing that because something like that, I probably just should have covered the entire podcast word for word, and then and still stuff would have been taken out of context and whatnot. This is not easy at all. And a lot of times, and Andrew, you know this, even if you do that, whatever your headline is, that's all people are going to react to anyway. They're not going to. I could have covered that whole thing word for word, and people could have read all of it, or people, it could have all been there for people to read, and they wouldn't have, because if the headline just said Big Swole says, lack of diversity and in the women's division, coming along so slowly, something like that, that's all people are going to look at. You would have to basically make a generic headline on stuff, and this is stuff that maybe I don't know. It's very difficult. I don't want to speak on. I'm talking about just from my perspective of how people reacted to that article and how Tony Khan reacted to it. I think Big Swole made very fair points.
Yeah, she did.
I think Tony Khan's tweet was not good at all. He definitely could have handled it a whole lot better. I've beaten myself up a lot over that article and that transcript and basically everything. So that's
Let me tell you something, bro. I don't think you should be, and I know that's like more of an internal thing because Jeremy, we've known each other since what 2018.
Yeah.
And me and you worked together for like 2-3 years, and we like hung out in person together. So I know your work ethic and what you contribute and what you add. I know how great you are, what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to feel like, oh yeah, like the only reason that this sort of got to this point as far as like this mass conversation is because Tony Khan sort of opened that door as far as like, and then with this, like I think the better route for him in the position that he was in was to either contact Big Swole privately, and I know it can be difficult for some people to have something addressed publicly and then come to somebody privately and they feel like, oh well, since you talked about it publicly, maybe I should talk about it publicly. And I feel like that's more of like a petty thing. But I think it would have been good for him to contact Big Swole privately, or you could do what most company owners do and let the shit ride and let it go. You know what I'm saying? Or you could do you could do another thing and speak to your your black talents in the locker room, talents of Asian descent, Hispanic descent, and try to get a feel for what they feel about the diversity in the company and see if they feel similar to what Big Swole is feeling and sort of open that door for that conversation. And I think that's where things can sort of improve if it needs improvement from his perspective. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Big Swole, like you just said, she made a lot of good points. She hit on a lot of different topics. And I feel like if people actually went to go read the transcript or actually go read the podcast, like, but like you said, things sort of, I honestly think Tony, I think maybe he later read the article or he later went to go listen to the pod. I think he reacted immediately to the headline.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately reacted to the headline. But yeah, man, like Big Swole, I don't think that she deserved any of that. Like hey, like you got people sending her like these racist messages and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Like that shit is ridiculous. But like you know, just seeing her sort of like have people like overly critiquing her in-ring work and stuff like that, and like saying all these like absurd things about her and shit, like it's ridiculous. And I think that more so just stems from you know, Tony Khan opening that door and him adding that last comment in there, which was completely unnecessary. But for you, I don't think you should be feeling like, oh yeah, you know, I don't think you should feel like that. I think you did your job, and I'm telling you this as a news writer. I ain't even bullshit. I'm not even telling you this. Not even just as a news writer, the news writer type thing. It was friendship aside stuff. I feel like you did a good job with the whole transcript. Everything was in there for people to read. Like for me, I know I go check out the whole article. Like I gotta read the whole thing. Like that's the only way to go about it. So you know, I highly advise people, like I said earlier, to either go read the whole article, read the whole transcript, or go listen to the whole podcast for yourself. I'm telling you, like, even with me, when I write stuff, it's difficult to convey exactly what a person is saying, even if you do a word for word, because it's the tone. It's certain stuff that people say stuff in. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to convey that 100%. And even if you do it just completely accurate, it will never compare to when somebody's speaking on stuff like this, to hear their tone, hear what they're saying, hear the fluctuation in their voices and stuff like that at certain points. All that stuff does matter. So yeah, I don't think that you should be beating yourself up. You know, I'm gonna talk to you about this off air too. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want you to feel like that, because that's, you know. But yeah, with Tony Khan, like I think he just made a bad call, and yeah. But at this point, like with the apology shit, like it's not even a reason for it, because I don't feel like he would mean it at all. I feel like it wouldn't do anything at this point that would just further lead to more conversation about it, and then but this conversation could keep happening about it. But yeah, I'm talking about like just as far as like continuing that sort of brigade on Big Swole, and you know, like yeah. But like when I seen her post like those messages like that people were sending to her like on Instagram and stuff, I'm like, that shit is ridiculous, bro. Like the fact that people going to that extent of like sending her, you know, calling her out her name and calling her an N-word and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit, like, and that's like just, you know, people just being fucking dumbasses on the internet, and like people feeling like they can say whatever they want to say to people because, you know, they ain't gonna never see them in person and shit like that. So that's a whole different thing. But yeah, man, I think Big Swole is talented. I don't think she's a bad wrestler in the slightest. Like I've seen enough of her work outside of AEW to know that she isn't a bad wrestler. So yeah, I think Big Swole is gonna be just fine post AEW. And you know, I think there's always something along the lines of maybe a conversation happening one day between both sides. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon, but I think there's always a door for that, you know, to sort of happen. And you know, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts about the situation. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, bro, like just from a male's perspective, like seeing like some of the shit that like gets said to like black women in professional wrestling, women of color and wrestling in general, is like, it's fucking absurd sometimes. Like seeing like some of the shit that some people say, and I'm talking about just like people in general, not referring to Tony Khan, but like it's it's a task in its own, being a black woman in professional wrestling, along with trying to find your footing, trying to find the right space, using your voice, using your platform, representing the culture, and then at the same time, you know, just trying to be great at your craft, or trying to be good at your craft. You know what I'm saying? I think it's all different things that they have to like deal with and adjust to, and they make it work. And yeah, but a Big Swole goes, like, I know I said it like fucking 4 times already, but I think she'll be fine. So yeah, man. Yeah.
I hope the best for Big Swole. I thought what she had to say was very insightful, and I'll obviously know.
Oh,
I'll obviously never know the struggles that she goes through. She's posted the message. I think all that's bullshit. I think people should have not tweeted what they tweeted, and then once that stuff happening, should have calmed that, because I don't think the situation was helped by leaving that up and tweeting it either.
yeah.
So I go ahead.
Now I was about to say real quick, John. I know you got to wrap it up, but like, I just wanted to say, like, with her telling her experience, bro. This is my thing. Now I'm not talking about. When I say you, I'm not talking about you, John. I'm talking about just people in general. When somebody shares something and they've been there in that situation, you don't get to tell them if they right or wrong or not.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't get to jump out there and be like, oh yeah, you're wrong. Well, I don't think that would ever happen in AEW. Like that's not how that shit works. You don't get to tell somebody who was literally in the thick of it since 2019 that they're wrong in this scenario. You know what I'm saying? And I think you was it, bro? Did you? What you the one? I remember you had sent me the story when you broke the news about her signing with A when she told you at the convention or something like
that.
Yeah. So I remember when she signed that in December 2019, I believe that was.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been there for the past 2 years. Like, she knows what's going on. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't just get on the podcast and just say things just to say it. That's her experience. That's what she lived. She's telling you what her experiences were, so you don't get to be like, oh, well, she's wrong. That would never happen. Bro, you don't know that, A, because you weren't there. B, you don't live her experience. And B, C, like, it's always like some like white dude saying, oh, but that can never happen. Like, bro, that's her experience. You don't get to tell her whether she's right or wrong or not, and you don't get to tell her what her exact experiences are and how she recalls these situations and scenarios and these suggestions that she made. It's not right that people think that they can do that, and sort of try to discredit what she's saying. Like that shit just not cool.
100%. Yeah, everyone has a different experience, and just because one person has a good experience, or this person was nice to you, or you didn't go through that, doesn't mean somebody else did. The main thing you can do is listen to everyone and take their experience at face value and try to learn and talk. Just have these conversations and talk about these things and try
to have these conversations, bro.
Yeah, try to improve the situation, because if someone did have a bad experience, and even if that wasn't your experience, you don't want anybody to have that kind of experience. So you want to try to just improve the situation for everybody. Andrew, go ahead and get everything plugged in, buddy. I appreciate you so much for joining me for this.
I appreciate you, my guy. And please do not hang your head on this stuff. Please don't.
Oh, nobody's harder on me than me. So
I know. But yeah, I've worked with you for a number of years, bro. You are extremely talented at what you do. I will tell you that right now. Yeah, as much praise as you try to heap onto me, I'm gonna throw that right back at you. Jeremy is a very, very hard worker. I've worked with this dude for many years. He is extremely talented, and that's my guy. And he sends me a Christmas present. He sends me a birthday present every year. Literally my favorite gift, of all time. This man sends me food on my birthday every year. Fucking legend. I'm telling you, like, I greatly appreciate it, bro. Greatly. I can't wait for August 19th. I can't fucking wait. But yeah, everybody go check me out on Twitter at @AD_Thompson__. My YouTube channel, Andrew Thompson Interviews. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up. I got an interview with Baron Black that's dropping tomorrow. We talk about a lot of good stuff. We talked about the original date for Terminus that they were planning and why they switched it to January. He provided an update on Satnam Singh's training, the 7-footer that's working at the Nightmare Factory. Baron explained what it means to exactly be a part of the Nightmare family. I know a lot of people think that may think that means like you're signed to AEW or you have some type of deal with AEW. Like, he sort of clarified all that, and like better gave the nuts and bolts of what it means to be added to the Nightmare family. And I got a couple more interviews dropping in the next couple of weeks, some in-person stuff coming up. I think a lot of people are going to be fun. A lot of people think are going to be fun. And yeah, man, you can check out my written work over at postwrestling.com. Also, go check out the Bushby and Thompson Wrestling Adventure with my guy Martin Bushby that's turning this month. Shout out to Martin, the man right there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I appreciate you having me on, my man. It's all love. We talk all the fucking time anyway. So yeah, I probably we probably text late at night or some shit like that. But yeah, you my guy. I want to make sure I appreciate you.
I want to make sure I read Shabogan's final chat here. He says, Jade is great for her amount of time and her look is unbelievable, but if her reign is going to be all squashes and smoke and mirrors, that's going to generate go-away heat. Very, very possible, Shabogan. We shall see. We shall see here very shortly which way they decide to go. Andrew, I love you, buddy. Again, thank you so much for doing this. Everyone support Andrew. I say it all the time.
Don't do it.
He's the best at this. He's the best at this, man. I've learned so much from him. I wouldn't be the person as far as work ethic, writing, I am without him. So everyone, please support Andrew. Go to postwrestling.com. He's got the news updates. At least 2 days. I think nowadays, a lot of times 3 days a week there. Go to the YouTube channel. Check out his interviews. He just did an interview with the guy who taught Ricky Steamboat how to blow fire. Again, he mentioned he's got Baron Black dropping tomorrow. He's got some other cool stuff in the works. So go there, support him, support Andrew. He's always welcome on this show because would not be here without him, and I truly mean that. Andrew, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with a new episode of The Distraction, 3 p.m. Eastern, on youtube.com/Fightful. Myself and SP3. Joseph is away. SP3 is going to be joining me tomorrow. The man SP3. Everyone, enjoy Dynamite. We'll talk to y'all later.